Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great day. You know, actually, I'm doing a couple things different. I want to start using this outdoor studio. This is a solid mahogany top here, and it has been out here since COVID started, and it actually looks real good and actually feels great. And I want to start using this. I may get another television to go out here and things in some of these fall games or evening games. I might just actually come out here and do my live streams and stuff. I think actually if I use my laptop, I should be able to stream like I normally do. So this is a little bit of a test for us right now here, where I'm just using the shotgun mic as opposed to everything that's gone inside. And let me say thank you for everybody else, for everybody out there that's been sending me text messages and emails and Facebook messages. Randy, shout out to Randy. Randy Seitz, my brother from another mother, who had a colonoscopy today as well. I hope yours came out well, and make sure you get yours taken care of. You know, I want to have some thoughts because there seems to be a little bit of a turn in some of the evaluation on the Cowboys. You know, when everybody went through, now keep in mind, I'm not saying that the Cowboys are a good team. I'm going to say their offense looks really good. Dak Prescott with the additional weapons, you know, you look at this and say, what if we had gotten Derrick Henry last year with Dak Prescott and he wasn't running like he was and tore up his knee? And what if we had gotten another legitimate wide receiver last year? We may have had a totally different season. You know, people are talking about our defense and how bad it's played through 2 games and things, and I'll give you that. But here's where I have actually a lot of hope, is I look at it and say, what the Cowboys were able to do to the Giants' defense gives me a lot of hope for the season. And here's what they'll say. Well, you know, I got Dan Salio out here saying, yeah, well, you know, the Giants, front seven is good, but their back end isn't. So then let me ask this question then. If the Cowboys scoring 40 points against the Giants defense means nothing, then didn't the Commanders only score 20 against that same team? Now, everybody looks at the Commanders right now and says they're a top 10 team. Yet, their defense didn't do too good at stopping Green Bay. And their offense didn't do good against Green Bay's defense. I'm not saying that we have that defense. But if the Cowboys were able to make hay like they did against the Giants, literally scoring almost at will, and the Commanders had a tough time with that same front, that has to say maybe the Cowboys' offense is better than, say, the Commanders. Isn't that a safe assumption? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It's still a small sample size, so we really don't know what teams are. And in the same sense, the Cowboys' defense, that game may have just been just a bad game, and that's not totally what the defense is. But if we take the team in totality and look at it and say, we started off with Brian Schottenheimer, new coaching staff, with basically a new team. I can definitely say this team is no worse than it was last year, especially on defense. As bad as they played against the Giants, I hate to tell you all, when Dak was playing, that was our defense on a regular. You may recall that early on last season, even with Micah Parsons on the field, we could not force a punt with the Ravens or with New Orleans. They literally mollywopped us. Now, we've gone through and they've talked about Dak Prescott, he's about number 15 quarterback. Some people still don't want to give him flowers, although you're beginning to see some of the talking heads out there seemingly turning, even Colin Cowherd, surprisingly. And Chris Canty actually praising Dak Prescott a bit today. Brian Schottenheimer. Here's where I'm going to say that people may have been completely wrong. Dan Salio, when he first started off today, before I got on, was talking about, only the Cowboys would hire somebody like Brian Schottenheimer. And Brian Schottenheimer, journeyman offensive coordinator and stuff, as opposed to some of the hot coordinators, The funny thing is We can look at some of those hot coordinators that are out there that have literally gone downhill and have had all the support in the world. The biggest one I can look and point to right now is Mike McDaniel and Robert Saleh, both 49ers coordinators that ended up getting jobs as minority hires, which ended up giving San Francisco 2 third-round picks. Both have failed as head coaches. Both of those guys were hot coordinators. And they were hired the same year as Dan Campbell, where everybody said, how the hell you get this guy? Why would you hire this guy? And when you heard his press opening speech, you listen to that and it's like, damn, this guy a little cray-cray. So I say you can't judge a book by its cover. Now, here's the thing about Brian I hope I still have it. The reason that you hire somebody like Brian Schottenheimer is you are able to hit the ground running. I actually wrote this morning and put it in my pocket because I was going to pull it out while I was waiting for my colonoscopy and things. The reason that you get somebody with Brian Schottenheimer, first of all, was familiarity. Jerry Jones likes familiarity. He's always liked to go with people that he's had some kind of contact or relationship with. He didn't with Mike McCarthy, and you have to look at it from the standpoint of saying, I'm not sure they ever really liked Mike McCarthy. When you look at what the Cowboys have done right now, I want you to understand this. This is actually insane to start thinking about. The fact that the Cowboys brought in Clowney, be it he's old, be it he's a free agent. I ask you, what bigger free agent did the Cowboys bring in the time that Mike McCarthy, in the last 5 years? I can't think of anyone any bigger. You might say, well, they brought in Dante Fowler, but Dante Fowler they brought in here with Brian Schottenheimer. Think about it. There were no big free agent signings. They were all typical guys like we did this year that are guys that haven't really gotten a name or haven't really done much in their career, were all past their prime. The biggest names you could say were Gerald McCoy, Clinton Ha-Ha Dix, Dontari Poe, and Emerson Griffin. And Emerson Griffin was probably what we got the most out of. Gerald McCoy tore his knee up before the season started. Clinton Ha-Ha Dix didn't make it out of training camp. Dontari Poe laid on his fat ass. And Emerson Griffin was okay. So now here's what you see. Because Jerry Jones likes, I think, Brian Schottenheimer wants him to succeed, they're doing more things to try and help him succeed. I don't know if Clowney has anything left in the tank. I know he had 5.5 sacks last year, and on a bad team that he was the only thing that you had to worry about, so I'm sure he got mostly double teams. And if he can become a credible part of the rotation, then it's a good move. And at the price tag, it's dirt cheap. But you start to see the Cowboys, of course, making the trade for George Pickens, which definitely is better. It might end up being just dumb luck as far as Javonte Williams coming in, but that may be end up being one of the better free agent signings that they've had. The next thing you look at is familiarity with the offense and the quarterback. So they're able to hit the ground running, unlike, say, William Cohn will with Jacksonville, who's now yelling at Trevor Lawrence and things, or any of the other rookie coaches. Because Brian Schottenheimer was here as the offensive coordinator in name, what Mike McCarthy was calling the plays, he knows CeeDee Lamb and what CeeDee Lamb does good. He knows what Dak does real good. And he's bringing in a philosophy of balance, which is different than what Mike McCarthy has done. Mike McCarthy has always been, we run because we have to. In the same way, as a husband, I take out the trash so I don't have to argue. It's not something he wanted to do, but he knew it was something he had to do from time to time. 60+% of the time, we passed the football. And when it came to last year, when he supposedly signed off on the players and the personnel, If you're telling me you were satisfied with having Dalvin Cook and Zeke Elliott, as part of your running room, sorry, you didn't give a rat's ass about the running room. So you have him understanding the offense, and that's where you can see the Cowboys are scoring 30 points a game on average right now. They're like the fourth-rated offense in the NFL. And mind you, that's going against two really good defenses, or at least lines, with a rookie, and you might as well say kind of semi-rookie offensive lineman. So you look at it from that standpoint of the players and Dak Prescott in that relationship, that is already paying dividends on the offense as well as the team. Now, I don't know how well we'll do with the defense, but right now you have to say, if you're looking around at the rookie coaches right now, be that the Jets that are 0-2, be that the Bears that are 0-2, be that at Jacksonville that are 0-2, and seeing what in New Orleans with Kellen Moore that are 0-2, right now you have to look at it and say Brian Schottenheimer seemingly is doing a better job of reaching the players and getting production on the field with that team. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to say, oh, well, the Cowboys, they already had so much talent and this, that, and that. You know they're going to change the goalposts if he is successful. You know that. Now, I guess you can say partially that you should, because he did have Dak Prescott, which is a quality quarterback, and that's the first ingredient that you need. But you can look at the Cowboys last year and say, we're devoid of talent. And if we want to go back to what all of the procrastinators had said, they said we had the worst running room. Remember that. We had the worst running room in the NFL. I think Javonte Williams is 7th right now in rushing. He's getting almost a full yard more per carry than Saquon is. And the Cowboys' offense is running the ball pretty good. I believe they said our offensive line was somewhere around 22nd, 21. They seem to be doing okay. I'm not going to say they're a top 10 offensive line, but they're a little bit better. Our secondary, maybe they're right about. Our defensive line, we're actually beginning to stop the run. We just have to get a pass rush. So we'll see how this all works out and evolves. But what you hope for now is over the course of the next month, if the Cowboys can go, well, actually, let me bring back my old thing. I used to always break up a season into quarters. Okay, that was before it went to 17 games. But you have, you take 4 games at a time and break the season out into 4 quarters. And what you need to do is you need to have 2 of those quarters where you go 500, 2-2. And you need to have 2 of those quarters that you go 3-1. If the Cowboys can get a win here against the Bears, and they lose one against Green Bay, well, then you've got your first quarter where you are allowed to get 2. But then you've got the Jets and Carolina and Washington. I think that you have a chance to get your 3 on that one. Now, we'll see, because we know we have a tough road to hoe with Kansas City and the Eagles and things. But I'm not sure what the Kansas City Chiefs are right now. Right now, they're devoid of weapons, and you see that Pat Mahomes is not looking like a top 10 quarterback right now. And it may be that finally Kansas City has going the course of what normally happens to a team, that you can't stay on the top for so long. You're seeing Kelsey dropping balls left and right. And I'm not sure that the Eagles, contrary to popular belief, are really as good as they believe they are. I think Saquon is having that second year after having the 2,000 yards where he's not going to be as effective. You're seeing an offense that has all of the weapons and everything, that is a loaded offense, that seemingly has a hard time scoring and moving the football. The Commanders, you've already got Jalen Daniels hurt, and you look at them and say their defense is not good. You never know where the Cowboys can end up in here. Alrighty, good people. Hopefully this sounds a lot better than what it did before, and I'm going to try it and see, and hopefully we'll get back to actually using the studio out here because it is actually really nice. At this time of year, it's crisp in the air. Get a fire going in the fire pit. Get the TV on. Well, I don't have one here. I got to get another one. But seeing the flowers and the plants and stuff, it's actually kind of nice. As always, I appreciate you.